The Griswolds are one of my favorite families in cinema, so let's take a look back at all 6 vacation films and rank them. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a good one today. I'm the Movie Ranker, and today I'm going to be ranking all 6 vacation movies from worst to best. This comedy series was created by National Lampoons and was a big hit, especially in the 80s, so I thought I'd revisit all the films and give you guys a ranking. But before we get into it, just make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy rankings like this, and let's get into it. So kicking things off in last place, at number 6, we got National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation 2, Cousin Eddie's Island Adventure. Now this movie is just as ridiculous as its title. It's definitely the worst entry in the series. I mean, we all love Cousin Eddie, but he works much better as a side character than as our main lead. And yeah, he was always presented as this hick family member who, was ill-mannered, socially awkward, and stuff like that. But this movie just makes him literally dumber than a monkey. And the story just feels like a bad ripoff of Gilligan's Island with very little Christmas elements at all. I mean, they basically just used the Christmas Vacation name because of how popular the first one was. But its biggest flaw is the fact that this is a comedy with zero laughs. It's all just fart jokes or slapstick humor that feels like it was written by a preschooler. And I especially feel bad for Dana Barron, who makes her first appearance in the franchise since the original as Audrey, coming back as the character. If only she knew how much of an embarrassment this film would turn out to be. This TV movie is a true dumpster fire, and I'll gladly never watch it again. Up next, at number 5, we got Vacation from 2015. Now this sequel, reboot, whatever you want to call it, really fails to capture the magic of the original series. I mean, it's vulgar, it's mean-spirited, and it suffers from lowbrow humor that never lands. I mean, the casting is fine. I really enjoy Ed Helms, Christina Applegate. We even get small roles from Caitlin Olsen and Charlie Day, which obviously I love, being It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, my favorite TV show of all time. But they're not enough to save this film, because all of these characters are just so obnoxious or irritating to the point where I just can't stand them. I mean, most of the dialogue is god awful, and when it comes to the story, this feels more like a rehash of the original, but it lacks the wit and the heart. So the script just comes off as lazy and somewhat predictable. And this feels more like a raunchy, nostalgia-driven cash grab than a genuine entry in the franchise. Up next, at number 4, we got Vegas Vacation. Now, this one I remember playing a lot on TV after it released on the Movie Network. It was on there constantly, so I did watch this one quite a bit. But to be honest, this one just feels mediocre at best. To me, this is the least funny out of all the original movies, except for all the Cousin Eddie parts. I feel like he steals the show, whether you're talking about where he lives now in this radioactive desert with his trailer and all the snakes and stuff, how his daughter's a stripper, and I don't know, it's hilarious how they show up at the dam and brings his fishing rod with him. To me, he really saves the movie. Everything else is just, okay. But to me, the story feels pretty thin. There's not a whole lot you can do with the whole Vegas location. I know, like most of these movies, or they're traveling and going through the countryside and whatnot, we have a lot more to explore. Yes, the Christmas Vacation movie did do the isolated setting very well, but in Vegas, it doesn't quite work, and things are a bit predictable. Like, we know that Clark's gonna lose all his money gambling before the movie even starts. Once they mention Vegas, first thing that comes to mind, and yes, that is what happens. And everything else in the flick isn't all that memorable, but at least we do get to spend the movie with the Griswold family, so that's a bonus, and it makes for an entertaining and fun enough watch. Up next, at number 3, we got European Vacation. Now, I feel like this one's good, but it has potential to be great, to be magnificent. I mean, we got the Griswolds going across Europe, going from, London to Paris to Germany. It's like, it sounds like the perfect script for this type of movie. but it just doesn't quite reach those heights. But there's still lots of fun to be had. I mean, watching the Griswolds travel throughout all these countries and, having a language barrier or just miscommunication with the locals is hilarious. How Clark keeps hurting that one guy from London over and over throughout the entire film is hilarious. And my personal favorite, the billboard of Ellen, that is the cherry on top. It's so freaking funny. And while I feel like Clark and Ellen are great as always, the kids are my least favorite versions in this movie, Rusty and Audrey. They feel very one dimensional, and it doesn't help that they get recasted every single movie. But yeah, this version is my least favorite. And there's not a whole lot wrong with this movie. I just feel like it could have been better, and I just much prefer the two entries I have above this one. Now, getting into our top two, I know I'm in the minority on this one, but at number two, I got National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Yes, I know that most of the internet, most of the world has this as number one, and I don't blame them. It's a great friggin' movie. It manages to capture the essence of the vacation movies and a Christmas movie and combine them, which is just genius. Like, who even thought of this idea? But it just really works. Of course, everything that can go wrong on Christmas goes wrong for Clark Griswold, whether you're talking about him trying to put up the lights and they're never working, or when they finally do, he has the brightest house basically on the planet, to him trying to get a Christmas tree and it being way too big and full of sap, to his extended family coming over, the in-laws and all that. It's just one thing after another. It's all things that are relatable to the average person. Of course, they're exaggerated, but it just makes for a hilarious time. And all these problems keep piling up one after another until Clark eventually snaps, and it makes for one of the more memorable, iconic freakouts in the entire franchise. And of course, Cousin Eddie is a hilarious highlight of this film. Who can forget the iconic scene where he's putting his sewage down in the storm drain or whatever, drinking a beer with his cigar in the morning out in his robe. So funny. We all have that one family member who's something like him, and it just makes for such a funny moment. And we get a great additional cast in here. A lot of familiar faces like Juliette Lewis, who plays Audrey. I mean, I know her from Cape Fear. She's great in that. We get Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Of course, everybody knows her as Elaine from Seinfeld. She's the neighbor. And we even get the great Brian Doyle Murray, who plays Clark's penny-pinching boss and kind of screws him over on his bonus of the year. I mean, the film is highly quotable. It's got a great theme song that I happen to play even in summertime. Like, it's that good. I could play it year-round. And it makes for a great Christmas tradition that you can rewatch every year. Probably the most rewatchable movie out of this entire franchise. So I understand why people have it at number one. And the cherry on top is that it's not only hilarious, but it has an equal amount of heart. But coming into number one place for me is National Lampoon's Vacation, the original, the one that started it all, and is a classic in my eyes. For starters, they do a great job of introducing this family for the very first time. The kids in this one are my favorite versions out of all these movies. We got Michael Anthony Hall playing Rusty, and we got Dana Barron playing Audrey. Well, funny enough, she looks like she's 12 years old in this movie, but when this film released, she was 17, believe it or not. And of course, casting Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo was just lightning in a bottle. It was perfect casting. I couldn't see anybody else playing these characters. And just every scene throughout their cross-country road trip is a memorable moment, especially given Clark's bad luck. I mean, from getting lost in the ghetto to meeting Cousin Eddie's hillbilly family for the very first time, to, strapping the dog to the back of the car and forgetting about him, strapping their dead aunt on the roof of the car. It's just so many moments that are never dull, and it's just hilarious from start to finish. And just the whole finale when they finally get to Wally World and they find out it's closed, so he has to haul out a gun on John Candy's character and to get him to ride on all the rides. It's It's just so damn funny. And how can I not mention the classic song Holiday Road by Lindsey Buckingham, best known for Fleetwood Mac. He made this song specifically for this movie, and it's another track that I put on all the time, even when I'm not watching these films. It's just so good and catchy, gets stuck in your head. And just everything about this film works for me. I especially love that it got a hard R rating. It feels like they don't water nothing down for its audience. Whatever they want to do, they show it, and it makes for a great freak out moment near the end with Clark in his car, starts swearing at his entire family and starts saying how this is now a quest. To me, this film is just comedy gold. I wouldn't change anything in it, and it's easily my favorite in the franchise. Like I said, I know a lot of yous love Christmas Vacation, and that's fine. It's right up there with this one, but I have to give the original first place. So there you have it, guys. There's my ranking of all 6 vacation films from worst to best. We definitely got some stinkers in here, but I mean, the original series is just such a fun franchise to rewatch. I have a blast every time I go through it, especially my top ones that I named. So guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this franchise. What's your favorite movies? What's your least favorite? Give me your ranking down in the comment section. You can also check out my Letterboxd and Instagram. I have both of those down in the description if you're interested. And until next time, guys, thanks for watching.